Hey, welcome back to Legacy Launch Pod. I'm sitting in the car. We're waiting for our son to come out of parkour because what 10-year-old kid doesn't want to literally climb all over the walls? So we were just having a discussion because we're here in the car as we normally do. And so it's one of those things, you guys, when you got to do something, you make it low resistance. I'm actually not normally out in the day at this time of day, but we were out running errands. And so we're talking, we're having conversation like we normally do. So now I'm hitting record because it's low resistance. So make things easier for yourself and attach other things that you need to do onto something you're already doing. That's the easiest way. And make sure that you're not expecting perfection because then you'll never do it. And then you'll never publish a thing and you won't launch the product and you won't have success. I actually heard something really good this morning, and it was along the lines of, I don't know who said it, but it was something along the lines about, it was about progress and about how it seems like nothing is happening until suddenly it does. And it's like these boring micro actions and these micro commitments and these micro moments of you just doing these boring, repetitive things that you know are the right steps to take in a certain direction, but it seems like nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden, boom, it happens and it explodes and you have a result. But it's kind of like that cartoon, if you've ever seen it, of the miner. He's like underground and he's got this pickaxe. And on the other side of the wall is the diamonds, right? It's the diamonds and the gold on the other side of the wall. But he's turned away and is heading back the other direction right before he strikes gold. And he had stopped right before that point. The wall is super thin. If he had just kept going another minute, he would have struck gold, but he gave up and is heading back the other way. I've seen that cartoon a bunch of times, and I think it's so true that people, they're not willing to do the boring thing that doesn't feel like they're getting anywhere. It's like they want results and they want them right now. And I know that, people like myself and other people, sometimes we can make it seem like it's so easy. Sometimes we can make it seem like, oh, well, she had 5 kids, she homeschooled, and she wrote a book. She did 6 albums. She's built 4 businesses. And I can make it sound kind of easy. I know that. And other people can too. But reality is, I'm just willing to do boring stuff longer than everybody else. And you're only getting to see the end result of it. You get to see the fruit of all those little boring activities that I did day in and day out and behind the scenes. And I got up at 5 a.m. before my kids were awake. And it's like you're only seeing the gold. You didn't see the messy, boring activities with the pickaxe underground for the months and months and months that I did the work. So I just was reminded of that and how moments like this, recording a podcast in the car while I wait for my son in parkour, these are just some of the mundane moments where I could do nothing or I can make something productive out of a generic moment. With that said, because this is impromptu, I'm actually not prepared with my win of the day. I might share it at the end of this episode. I want everybody to stay encouraged because I know my clients are listening to this, non-clients are listening to this, and I just want everybody always encouraged. And so I'll share those maybe later. But I want to talk today about, again, some mindset stuff. And I actually love the idea of doing this podcast just for the mindset stuff alone, things that sometimes don't fit within the scope of my program, but are so important for everybody to hear, whether you're just starting out or you already have a 7-figure business. Like, these are just things that we've all got to face. And the thing that came up for me today in discussing some business situations with clients or non-clients is everybody thinks that they have a really special reason or excuse for things in life, or for why they quit, or for why they don't join a program, or for why they decide to cancel a program. There's a whole bunch of different things, and it's not just about programs, but just in life in general. People think that their reasons and excuses are so unique and special. Like, this is a special circumstance. Leah, you don't know. Let me explain to you. Let me tell you my life story. I went through this. I'm going through a divorce. I'm doing this, that, and the other thing. And you have no idea what has happened to me. And they think that this is going to actually convince me that I'm going to believe them. And it's not that I'm denying that those things haven't happened. The difference is that this is the big difference between what I call the 98% and the 2%. 98% of the world believes their own BS, actually. They have reasons and excuses for why they can't do X, Y, and Z. And they actually believe it. And they actually allow those things to stop them from moving forward. They allow those things to become a roadblock. And they allow those things to cause a setback and justify their actions. And so I just want to point this out because even when I talk to my own clients or people who have a business and they want to tell me how, well, my niche is special, my industry is special, my customers are special. Here's why that, marketing doesn't work. Here's why, blah, blah, blah. And everybody thinks that they're so unique. And the truth is that all humans are the same. They are all the same. Psychology is all the same. We are wired the same. And so, if you look at some of the world's biggest, most successful people on the planet right now, there are more, billionaires created. There are more millionaires and billionaires created today who came from nothing, who were immigrants and their parents had 10 cents to their name. And they have risen above the ashes and have created empires out of nothing. Talk about being created in the image of God. I just think like none of this is law of attraction woo-woo stuff. This is legit, like, there's a God, because we do things that reflect his very nature all the time. We think of a thought, we think of an idea, and we create something out of nothing. It's just a testament to our DNA and our nature being made in his image. So the biggest, most successful people in the world have never used excuses to allow them to just stay where they are. In fact, the greater the adversary, the greater the obstacle, the more driven they get, the more determined, steadfast they get, and they put on blinders. It's almost like it becomes more of a challenge. The more that comes at them, it's like, there's the wall, there's the brick wall in front of me, and 98% of the population will look at that brick wall and go, well, I guess it's not meant to be. Well, that looks too hard. Well, I'm kind of out of shape. I don't think I could climb that. I guess I'll just turn back. Whereas the 2%, only 2% of the population are going to think to themselves, well, there's a wall. I'm even more determined than I was before to get over it. That wall's not stopping me. Are you kidding me? So I'm going to find a way. I'll either build a ladder, I'll blow it up, I will dig a tunnel underneath. I'm finding a way over that stinking wall. And no one is going to stop me. So you've got to decide if you're the 98% of the 2%. And people always ask me, well, how did you get started investing into programs when you didn't have money and all of this? And I just say, look, I found a way. When there's a will, there's a way. I sold stuff. Okay. And most programs out there offer payment plans. And that's how I got started too. I had to do payment plans. And I found a way to do it. And it was the best thing I could have ever done. So I thought I would address some of the most common reasons and excuses that come up. And here's the funny part. Everybody thinks that their reasons and excuses are so special and unique to them. And the most hilarious thing is that they're identical. And I have proof. So some of you who are on my email list know about this. Over the summer, I ran a promotion. This was an experiment. My experiment was a 30-day trial, like a love it or leave it trial for my program. And the idea behind this was something called a risk reversal, where basically I was taking on all the risk in hopes that it would help people overcome their inner resistance, right? Because a lot of times people really want to join a program, but they've been burned before, or they joined a program, they didn't think it was, or they didn't get results from it. It wasn't what they thought. Or, it's a bit more of a stretch than they feel confident with because they don't know the caliber of the program and that kind of thing. There's a whole myriad of reasons why people have a lot of inner resistance. And so the goal with running a promotion anytime, by the way, whether you run an e-commerce business, physical products, digital products, anything, the whole point of a promotion is to help people make a buying decision. Because a promotion has I'm going into a little teaching here though. A promotion has some specific parameters. For example, it has a limited amount of time and a limited amount of quantity, whether that's number of students or stock, available stock, something like that. Okay. So there's a start and an end date. Okay. So that's a promotion. So I ran this 30-day experiment and I actually had dozens and dozens and dozens of people join. It was wild. I was like, oh my gosh, look at all these people who have been sitting on the fence waiting for an opportunity that they could join. And I just helped them overcome this inner resistance. This is the most amazing thing. This is the best thing since sliced bread. Like, so many lives are going to be transformed with this. I am so excited. And now that the experiment is fully over, the report has come back in. Okay. I've got all my data now, and it is an abysmal flop. Like, it is the worst promotion I have ever run in my life, in my career of coaching. Okay. It is so bad in that most people, and we're talking like more than 60% of people, canceled within the 30 days. And here's what I learned. I'm going to tell you what I learned, and then we're going to talk about some of the reasons and excuses here. But I learned that when you run a promotion, and this is nothing, I mean, this should not discourage you from running promotions, by the way, and it shouldn't even discourage you from doing trials for things. I think trials can be a useful thing. But I made some mistakes. My mistakes involved just not qualifying people enough for the program and just readily accepting them in without going through my regular process of kind of a stringent interview, actually. I interview each person to make sure it's 100% a great fit, that I know for sure that I can help them, right? And part of that means that they know that they're going to be able to afford the program, because I know that if they invest a certain amount into the program, they're going to be able to make 10 times the amount back or more if they implement everything there. It's an easy no-brainer decision. And this promotion was designed to help people who are sitting on the fence to get off the fence. And so when more than 60% of people canceled and they were giving their reasons why, this actually just blew me away. And I could talk more about this, about I felt a little bit burned in that, hey, this was my experiment. I chose to take on this risk. So it's absolutely nobody's fault. It's not their fault. It's mine. And it's mine specifically that I didn't qualify people properly in the way I normally do. But what absolutely blew my mind was all the reasons and excuses people gave, that they were trying to explain how unique their situation was and special their excuse was. And they were absolutely every single one was identical. Like, it was like they almost did a copy and paste. That's how similar they were. And so the main reasons I got were, number one, I bit off more than I can chew. I didn't realize this was so comprehensive and robust, and now I'm not going to have enough time. I don't have enough time. And something came up, and some medical thing, and it was like over and over and over and over and over, the exact same reasons. Okay. So it had to do with time, some special extenuating circumstance that everyone magically had, and they just bit off more than they could chew. Not a single person was like, oh, this doesn't look like what I thought it would be, what I thought it was. If anything, it was like 10 times more than what they thought it was. And they were like, whoa. So, I'm going to look at more at how can I make sure people don't get overwhelmed. There's that. But if anything, what I did was I let everybody dive in head first and get access to everything, right? And what made me feel burned was that people fully participated, right? Like, I held nothing back. They could consume the entire program. They came to coaching calls. I answered their questions. I dug deep. I did hot seats with them. I tried my best to help them win if they would apply themselves. And at the very end, and here's the other thing, most of these people, most of them, they didn't cancel after a week or two knowing, this isn't the right fit, or nobody said it wasn't the right fit, by the way, but nobody canceled going, oh, I'm not going to be able to have the time for this. And I really wouldn't have cared if it was a few people. Like, that's totally expected, not a big deal. But that most people canceled, and they canceled at the last minute, like day 30. Some of them tried to cancel day 31, right? I mean, everybody did that. So it was like, were you watching the clock and like set a timer on your phone so that you could take in every single thing and take advantage of every single thing, only to cancel at the end and say, sorry, oh, I have a special circumstance that came up. Like, that's just crappy to do that to people. Again, it's my fault because I'm the one who did the promotion. I'm the one who let these people in. So if I'm really mad at anybody, it should be myself. But it just kind of blows my mind how people think their excuses are so special, but they're actually identical. So I was talking to Steve a bit about this because this is not my first rodeo in terms of these kinds of experiences, because I've run 8-figure coaching business before this one, Savvy Musician Academy. And it's actually, I would say that the industry with artists and musicians is probably worse than this one, because you've got, oh my gosh. Okay, well, it's worse in that anytime you have people who are really creative, there's an X factor involved, right? And the X factor is you actually have to have talent, right? So if someone, is running a laundromat, or they have, a brick and mortar business, or they have a coaching business, or they have, sure, they have to be good at what they do, right? You have to have a good product, whatever that is. But with music and art, and even writing and authors, you have the X factor, which is you've got to be talented. People actually have to like what you do. And that I cannot control. I can't make you a better artist. I can't make you a better singer. I can't, right? And there's a bit of objectivity, or I should say subjectivity to it, in that I see some art on the wall that looks like a toddler through their paints. And I think, wow. And another person would pay 20 grand for that, right? So there's a little bit of subjectivity in it. But in any case, the artist and music industry is laden with not only excuse makers, but a lot of entitlement as well. Like, people, they think they are so entitled. It's crazy. So, Steve, because you have run Savvy Musician Academy with me for a number of years, and even though that's not our main focus now, that was an 8-figure business as well. What are some of the top excuses that you saw people making over and over and over? Because I remember reading these excuses from people who canceled at the last, like at the 11th hour, and thinking, wow, this feels familiar. What are some of the excuses that you've seen people make over and over, and what's your response to that?
Are you talking like specific,
Yeah,
my
like,
dog ate my homework kind of excuses, that kind of thing? Or because I can tell you the general
yeah,
ballpark that they all fall into: time and money. Every single one of them.
every single one.
Every single one. And there, yes, I have seen over the years now probably hundreds, if not thousands, of these types of responses, or excuses, I should say. The reasons and excuses that people quit, the reasons and excuses that they give up, that it won't work for them. And they're all time. I don't have the time. I can't make the commitment. Or my money ran out. I'm on a fixed budget, blah, 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 whatever. Now, there's reality in those things. That's why it's reasons and excuses, right? There are reasons. But the thing is, what's funny is that, well, there's a couple of things. There's number one, why do people make commitments that they know they can't keep?
Right?
That's the first and most ridiculous thing that I don't understand. I think it's probably because they're hopeful, right? They're like, oh, if only this will work. This is like, but then on the flip side of that, they're not actually willing to do what it takes.
And this is comes back to a little bit of marketing tactics and why FOMO marketing is maybe not always the best in every industry. Like, so when you're running from a promotion, like I said, it's designed to help people get off the fence. People who are sitting on the fence, is to help them take action, right? But the downside of that is there are people who take action for the sake of taking action because they see the countdown timer on the page and they know that a promotion is ending. So they join just because they're feeling FOMO. And so there's a flip side to that kind of marketing. And I don't think it's so much anything to worry about if you have physical products. This is, I think, more so with this kind of a situation. If it was a trial or something where you can kind of get shot in the foot a little bit later, so more probably in the coaching and digital product space, but you never know. It could happen in other industries as well. So I am really keeping this in mind. I'm going to be more sensitive about it in terms of, like, right now, anybody can join my program at any time. And when they say, I can't join right now, I want to join later, is that possible? I say 100%, absolutely. let me know when you're ready. I will be there to help you, because I don't really want to do FOMO marketing, because this is what happens, right? I ran a promotion and people joined because of the promotion, and when they had no intention of following through, and I attracted those people in. So it's my fault.
Yep.
And at the same time, people should have responsibility and ownership over their own behavior at the same time, because we're grown-ups and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's like in today's culture, society, there are people who only shop sales. And it doesn't matter whether that's a physical product, a grocery item, or a coaching program. I don't think it really matters. They're just addicted to the sale, even though there's no intention of owning the commitment to do whatever it takes to follow through. It's just like a knee-jerk reaction to the fact that there's actually a sale or a promotion or whatever the thing is. But the problem, again, is that business, I find it funny that people, that there's like a big group of people that responded to your promotion. Their reason and excuse was, I bit off more than I could chew. Really? Did you expect building a business from nothing to $1 million to be easy?
Right?
Like, did you actually imagine this wouldn't take any time or effort or investment, either monetarily or time or money and whatever else? Did you expect that it would be just this easy little thing? I think most people have this misconception that building a business should be easy. And I mean, it should be easy to the degree that it shouldn't take any effort. Or like, I don't know, what are people actually expecting?
It also makes me wonder, because a lot of these people have taken a lot of courses and other programs. I'm like, what other kind of crap have you been buying? Because anyone who takes you through a proper modality and methodology to build a real business, it should be no less robust than what I have. Anything less than that is just crappy content that's not actually going to help you build a family legacy, that's for sure. Maybe there's like single one-off little courses on Udemy for how to make an ebook, but you're not going to build a family legacy off an ebook. Nobody wants your ebook because you didn't even validate your market. You didn't even validate that anybody's having this problem. You just put all your time and energy into something that you didn't validate. So yeah. I'm just like, I don't know what you've been consuming, but they're so used to, I want to say, like, the Bible talks about they've been eating, what is it? Like milk instead of meat.
Drinking milk.
They've been drinking milk instead of eating meat. I feel like
baby
food, right? That's how I feel like this is the state of programs out there, is people don't understand that if you're going to actually get proper training and upskill yourself to create a family legacy, that means you have to become more valuable to the marketplace. Don't think for 1 second that that's going to be an overnight transformation. That's not going to happen overnight unless you've already got the goods and you just need a tiny little tweak. And quite frankly, there are some clients that have come into my program, they've got the goods and they did just need the little tweak, and they ran with it and did some extraordinary things in a very short amount of time, like less than a month. And they did some crazy stuff. But that's because they kind of already came in with some of those skills and they just needed the strategy, and they implemented what I had, boom, and they were off to the races. But there's a lot of people that come in, they don't yet have the right mindset, they don't have the right skills, they don't know the tech stacks, they don't understand, it's all brand new. Totally cool. That's what I'm here for. We're here to help. My goal is to help 1,000 families hit 6 figures in their business as a starting place so they can build their family legacy and family wealth.
You know what? This totally reminds me of the parable of the talents, in that we do not all start at the same place in business, right? Like, even when we started our first business, you started it based on a problem that you were solving for yourself. So you came to the table with something already kind of there, and you just needed to validate it and then prove it.
So in the parable of the talents, it says that the master gave to each of the servants according to their abilities at the time. And I always say, like, so I talk about this on Instagram a lot about, well, if you want to be entrusted with more, you must increase your abilities. You must increase your skill set. and you will be entrusted with more. In other words, you got to become more valuable to the master and to the marketplace. You have to be, how do you become more valuable? You increase your skill set.
Yeah.
You solve people's problems in a bigger way. And a simple way to put it is the bigger problems you solve, the more money you'll make. And so there's a lot of people that come in where they're complete beginners, and I welcome that. Although I'll say, I think over time, I'll end up shifting more and more to people who are maybe a little bit at the next level, or I'm going to have to break my program out, eventually split it into like a level 1, level 2, level 3, where the first, because it's going to get, I keep adding on to it, and it will become a little overwhelming in time. It's fine right now. I want to welcome people. I want them. That's the whole point of what I'm trying to do, is help people build their skill set, help them increase their value in the marketplace, solve real problems so that they can build their wealth. And so the bottom line is, if we come back and circle back around to reasons and excuses and how everybody thinks their time and energy and money problems and excuses are so special, and actually they're just identical, they just phrase it 100 different ways. And so what you've got to realize, and this goes for whether you're successful or not, because guess what? Sometimes I have reasons and excuses and they're also lame. And the bottom line is, you just have to recognize when you're BSing yourself, right? It comes down to awareness that, oh, I just gave a reason. I just gave an excuse. They're one and the same, by the way. Reasons and excuses are the same thing. One just sounds a little bit better. Well, you don't understand. I really have this blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So did the other guy down the road, and that didn't stop him. Somebody says to me, I have conversations with people every single day. Oh, I have 2 little kids. I'm like, cool. I had 5 little kids, and I also had the same demands as you, and I didn't sleep well. And and this is not a comparison. This is to inspire you. I wrote a book. I produced 6 albums. I have built 4 businesses to multiple 6, 7, and 8 figures each. And on it goes, right? And I didn't let it stop me. Nothing has stopped me. Why would you let it stop? Not health issues, not sleep problems, not thyroid, not whatever your mold issues or whatever. Nothing can stop you if God has given you a calling and you have some resources. I mean, you've got the internet, you have social media, you have no excuse. Bottom line, you have no excuse. And if you think that you can't find the resources, BS. You have a garage full of crap you can sell. You have stuff in your closet. You have ways, but you don't want it that bad. And so you don't do it. And trust me, this is not about my coaching promo. I don't care about that. That was just a lesson learned. And what it teaches me is, it's just a reminder about human psychology. That's actually it. And I reminded myself about, I got to stick to my SOPs, right? So I don't care about, like, if someone wasn't right for the program, they're not right for the program. I'm totally fine. Even I have reasons and excuses, and I have to stick to my guns. I have to stick to my SOPs, my standard operating procedures. So, gosh, gone in a few different paths here, but
you know what this all reminds me though of the quote that I've seen over the last couple of years popping up all over the place. That goes, hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times or easy times, and easy times create weak men. And we're actually in a time here, well, you can look at it this in one of 2 ways. The hard times are either going to keep you weak or keep you where you're at, or you're going to do and come up with the resolve within yourself to become strong and to overcome it and do whatever it takes. There's only 2 ways you can go. Either live in it and stop complaining, or do something about it and don't ever give up.
So the moral of the story was sharing all of this, sharing even one of my own flops with you, and sharing, the different rants we went on in terms of what we see all the time. What is so common with everybody is that you're not unique. Your reasons and excuses aren't unique. And at the end of the day, you can't believe your own BS, and you've got to move past it, and you have to decide what's really, truly important. What do you really want? Because if you say that you want to be an entrepreneur, if you say you want to be a business owner, you're not going to accept your own excuses, and your feelings should not determine your decisions. Your goals need to align with your actions. And so it's really just about overcoming our own objections and not standing in our own way. You got to get out of your own way, as they say. So I hope this actually is encouraging to you, and hopefully you don't feel like we were just yelling the whole time. But the idea is that we can kind of let loose on this podcast and share our real, unfiltered thoughts about what we see, what we experience in business, in life, spiritually, kids, parenting, and all the things that it takes as we ourselves are striving to build a legacy that will last multiple generations. This is a little bit of everything, right? And so if that was encouraging to you, I would love your feedback. If you're enjoying this candidness, if you're enjoying the tough love approach, let us know. It's not for everybody. I know there's some people that they won't like what they hear. They don't want to hear it, but this message isn't for them. It's for the people who know they need it. It's for the people who they know they're not going to find this anywhere else. They can't find that tough love approach that's grounded biblically, and ultimately because we actually want to help. We actually care about you and your family. We actually want to see you succeed. And if you want to succeed, it's not going to be easy, and we're not going to sugarcoat it. So there you have it. I hope that was somewhat inspiring for you. I know it's challenging, but now is your call to action to move forward with whatever the next right step is for you. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in today. Don't leave just yet. I've got 2 things. Number 1, if you enjoyed this content, if this was of any value to you, please leave me a review and share with a friend. This content is 100% free, so that's like leaving me a tip, and it's going to encourage us to keep making it. Number 2, if it's your desire to build your own family legacy and you want some help, send me a DM on Instagram with the word podcast, and I've got something special for you. Again, DM me with the word podcast at Real Leah McHenry on Instagram. We'll see you next time.